C2 Lawson asks a MythBusters question about harsh conditions, working in harsh conditions. Can you share some things that helped keep you comfortable and warm in very cold weather? Yes, I can. We worked in my career in special effects and on television. I have worked in 160-degree spread. I have worked in 160-degree spread. I have worked from 40 below, and 40 below is Celsius or Fahrenheit, because that's where the graphs cross, 40 below. I've worked in 40 below, and I've also worked in 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, significant. Harsh conditions. But you asked about keeping warm in very cold weather. So when we were first heading to Alaska, and I knew it was going to be crazy cold, and I mean, this was so cold, you would like take off, so you get in the car at the end of the day from the location to head to the hotel, and you would take off some of the heavy gear and layers you were wearing all day, because when you finally get in the car, you're like sweating. And then in the like 40 feet from the car into the front doors of the hotel, you get a headache because it's so cold. That's how cold 40 below is, man. And meanwhile, we're in Alaska, and it's during, there was like a winter dance at the local high school, and kids are getting out of limos in miniskirts in the same weather that is giving us all headaches. When I first knew that I was going to work at 40 below, I reached out to Peter Coleman, who was my second cameraman on MythBusters, and I knew that Peter had spent a couple of shooting trips in Antarctica. And I was like, do you have straight dope on the boots I want to wear? And he set me up with these boots. I will try and find a link for them. I still have them. These boots were $650. Later, I found out that like those inflated white military bunny boots are like 90% as good as these boots, and you can usually pick those up for just like $150 surplus. But these boots were amazing. They had a liner. You wore them without a sock. And that was part of their insulation thing, was that they had layers that you would sweat into, and that would actually help provide a barrier. They were also like 3.5 inches between the bottom of your foot and what you were walking on. So they were hugely insulating and also crazy lightweight. And again, I still have these. They're fantastic. For me, when I'm going to work in harsh conditions, it's my feet. When it's cold, if my feet are warm, I'm fine. Like everything else could be chilly, but if my feet are warm, I'm fine. And by contrast, I could feel comfortable as hell, but if my feet are cold, I'm very unhappy. I know this about myself, which is why I concentrated on the boots. I will also show you what I consider to be one of my favorite bits of hot and cold weather gear at the same time. Hold on right there. Oh, God, what a security blanket this thing is. This is my Morning Pride turnout coat. I have matching pants. And early on in my tenure on television, the company Morning Pride, who they're one of the makers of fireman gear, sent Jamie and I a complete set each of their turnout stuff. And that is non-trivial. This is real good, high quality fire gear, can cost thousands of dollars, and is absolutely worth it. Before you tell me, I know that the chemicals that they spray them with have been found to be carcinogenic. I don't wear this enough to consider that a risk factor for me. I went and looked at the data. But this coat, aside from like being a coat of memories of, years and years and years of working in difficult conditions and doing crazy things, it's a remarkable piece of kit because you can see it's very heavy, so it totally keeps you warm. It also keeps you totally dry. I will also say, in super hot weather, it is not crazy hot. I don't know quite how they do it, but this coat breathes in a way that makes total sense when you think about it. You don't want firefighters getting heat stroke in the safety gear that they're wearing. So I've never looked into the science of how they make these coats both warm when it's cool and cool when it's warm, but like, I now understand why these cost what they do. Well, at least I have some inkling why they cost what they do. I think there's a lot of technology and a lot of exotic fabrics in here leading to their ability to do what they do. And it has been raining cats and dogs in San Francisco for the last few days. Oh, it's been glorious. We never have those. San Francisco very rarely has the kind of rain where you like stop in your house and you're like, wow, listen to that. And you hear that everywhere. I know on the East Coast you guys get that all the time, but in the West Coast it's rare, and so it's really special. But I still need to bang around the Mission District, and when it's raining like that, this is my go-to. Yeah. One of my all-time favorite bits of safety gear. And like I said, a genuine security blanket. Oh, Jake Osterman. I love this question. Being someone who has transitioned from being a TV show host to a full-time YouTuber, what would be your advice for anyone wanting to start YouTube? I said this recently. I talked about this recently, and I can't remember in what forum I did. But my advice is really specific. So if you're thinking about starting your own YouTube channel, the question you want to answer for yourself is why? What do you want it to do? Do you want to get better at being on camera and telling stories on camera? That's a great way to do that. Do you want to open yourself up to a wider community? It is a fantastic way to do that. Do you want to make a living? That's going to be tough. It's possible, but it's going to be tough. And the reason I said that it's going to be tough is you can't always know if the thing that you want to do is going to intersect with your culture in a way that gives you feedback and creates a viable living. You can't always control that. I feel very lucky that the strange things I like to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis are filmable, and that we have a team that is so good at telling these stories and putting them together. But it begins with that it has to begin with that. Are you telling a resonant story? Actually, sorry, forgive me. It really begins with, are you telling something that's true? Because I think given venal late stage capitalism, you could certainly create a YouTube channel that would make money by appealing to the most base interests, There's a great line from Citizen Kane in which Mr. Bernstein, Kane's right hand, says to a reporter, "It's no trick to make a lot of money, young man, if money's all you're after." Now, that's not exactly true, but it is true that if money is all you're after, well, you can do all sorts of things to obtain that, but, there are also parts of life that we're unwilling to compromise on, or that I'm getting way out in the weeds here. To me, it's just about what's your point of view. And if you are telling stories on YouTube and you are clearly elucidating your own unique point of view, I think that is going to be inherently interesting. Years ago, I was lucky enough to meet and have dinner with John Plant, the proprietor of Primitive Technologies. I think one of the best YouTube channels out there. John is a remarkable soul. And while we were having dinner, I was like, tell me about how you came about making a YouTube channel. And he was like, if I remember his story correctly, he had an accident that laid him up for a few weeks, and he was watching tons of YouTube. And he said, after I was watching a bunch of YouTube, I realized there was some stuff that I liked and some stuff that I didn't like. And I made a list. That's it. That is the most beautiful way of describing to me landing upon your point of view. He didn't like it when people talked a lot, so he doesn't talk. He didn't like long sequences where there wasn't the possibility of knowing what was going on. So if you turn on closed captioning, he's telling you what's going on without interrupting your thought process with words. This isn't someone who went to film school. This isn't someone who even thought, like, I want to be a YouTube star. He was like, I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I noticed that there was some stuff I liked and some stuff I didn't, and I made a list. I'm so here for that kind of point of view. Because that list he made yielded the channel he makes, and I have gotten so much incredible knowledge and such great times just watching him go on that channel on Primitive Technologies. That would be my advice for starting a YouTube channel. I don't know that that helps for the rank beginner, but look, I just operate off of the most core axiom that if you are going to try a career that involves you being out in the public or being being a public speaker, you are going to do the best with that if the things you are saying are honest and true to you, not things you are saying and doing just for the sake of commerce. Both happen, but by and large, I think brands have more legs and more foundational depth when they come from a true place. Do you, Deacon Frost says, I see you still remove labels from everything. Is that a side effect from your Mythbuster time? Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. It's like, and it still drives me nuts. I still find, like, from all sorts of shoots, my tools have been colored over. So here's the thing. The other reason I do this is because when it makes it hard to release this stuff, frankly. If I wanted to sell a bunch of this content later to go on a cable show, they'd be like, hey, what about all those brands in the background? It can be a problem. So I tend to kind of do that. I pull the labels off the stuff. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.